Welcome to our Leadership Dialogues at the ETAutoTech Summit 2025 in Bengaluru. Today, we're joined by two visionary leaders, and it's my pleasure to welcome them. They're at the forefront of India's electric mobility revolution. Please join me in extending a very warm welcome to Mr. Mahesh Babu, who's the CEO of Switch Mobility, and Rajkiran, who is a Senior Director at PTC. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. And today we're going to be talking about how technology, talent, and purpose are converging to redefine the future of mobility. While Mahesh Babu is innovating on the commercial vehicle side, making them more sustainable, we have Rajkiran from PTC who's driving innovation and digital transformation. My first question is an overview of how India stands when it comes to the adoption of EVs. How do you think we measure up on a global standpoint?
I think India is a very diversified market. We have a lot of two-wheelers, three-wheelers, commercial vehicles, cars, all of them into it. So the government is giving focus on two, three-wheelers and commercial vehicles. The reason being the amount of consumption of petrol much higher by two-wheelers. Three-wheelers because it makes economic sense and easy to adapt. I think three-wheelers are already close to 40+% of adoption. Now two-wheelers are picking up well. In the cars, still about not even a double digit, looking at 1 or 2% still there. Commercial vehicle electric makes sense because again in commercial vehicles on particular applications, it makes economic sense as well for the consumer and the buyer. So the adoption of, let's say, buses is about 3.5%, overall trucks is less than 1%. We have a long way to go. It has just started. But when you compare to the world, I think we should compare, mostly people will compare to electric cars adoption versus India's electric cars adoption. But if you overall look at it, I think we have already crossed 2 million plus vehicles this year. And we are looking at a very healthy adoption supported by government, invested by the industry, and embracement by the consumers already. So I would say a very decent start, and we have a long way to go.
Excellent. And I hear PTC is also focused on the automotive industry. So what is the sort of shift that you are witnessing when it comes to electric mobility, not just in commercial vehicles, but also in passenger vehicles and software-defined vehicles?
Oh, across the industry, there's a massive shift. I think Mahesh has put forward the numbers, statistics pretty clearly. Three-wheeler adoption getting to 40% is a great curve. It's a great start. We're seeing adoption across the industry. There's plenty of, we already had seen a lot of European OEMs who are already on the curve, the Indian OEMs. We are very well positioned in the software market, India being the biggest software exporter. There's so much that we can do to make sure that software gets into the vehicle from an engineering standpoint, right? So the goal when we are innovating so rapidly is always that we have lesser engineering hours, we use digital to the best possible outcome and make sure that people are all seeing the same thing and they're collaborating much better. That's the ultimate goal of software. So the market is picking up. Everyone's talking about software-defined vehicles. Electric vehicles are already here. It's not a future thing anymore. But to fundamentally change it from the electronic control units to the software-defined vehicles, that's the big revolution that is being seen in the market. And Switch Mobility is doing great work. Of course, now with a lot of focus on the India market, we read and understand. It's exciting times ahead.
It sounds like it indeed. And like you said, software is redefining every industry. So the automotive industry can't be left behind, but there is also the challenge of making it robust and easy to use for everyone. Now, zoning in on buses, India is expected to have about 50,000 EVs on the road by 2027. How do you see digital technology transforming internal efficiencies for new product development and for engineering in general?
So if you look at the bus market, you can segment them into multiple segments. Like you have a city bus, you have an intercity bus, then you have school bus, you have employee transport, and many more. So when you look at developing these products, we need to look at defining these digital models and twinning them to optimize the motor efficiencies, battery efficiencies, charging infrastructure efficiencies, and all this over a safe and reliable lifespan throughout the product. So this life cycle management is very complex today, and what we do is we do a lot of digital twinning to optimize the curves of the motors and the efficiencies of the batteries and all that. And it also depend on driver. It also depend on driver behaviors. It's depend on routes. So we need to optimize them together. So EVs, buses, as you rightly said, the adoption of EVs is picking up in city bus segment, primarily driven by Government of India's programs on PME Drive and PME Seva and many more. But we are also seeing private players are coming and adapting to EVs in terms of economic sense once the charging infrastructure builds up between the cities. So digital plays a very important role in our strategy for the future.
And it sounds like it's here to stay for sure. I know that you're a leader in providing tech and support to major giants across the world. How do you see this progression in India currently?
In India, very well. I mean, commercial vehicle providers, bus and truck manufacturers are thinking about it actively, how to improve the way they're going about engineering today, how to combine the electromechanical components with software, life cycle management, to make sure that everyone is more efficient within the company. We are seeing a lot of adoption with many of the Switch Mobility, of course, but also Ashok Leyland and Tata Motors commercial vehicles is adoption across the board. And we've been experiencing that from abroad, and to bring that technology here, I think there's true globalization now in terms of making sure that the same technologies are adopted everywhere. The effects of that, of course, like you said, fleet tracking, predictive maintenance, making sure that ADAS, the driver is safe, very important to make sure that the driver is not reckless with his driving, to monitor the driving behavior, components of the vehicle doing better, etc. All of that is going to be easily monitorable and manageable in future.
Right, that sounds safer indeed. And now, talking about internal efficiencies of companies as well. I understand you have a product, PLM, that improves that as well. So talk to us about it.
Oh, PLM is a generic term which has been there in the market for a long time. It's to manage the product's life cycle from the time it's conceptualized to when it is retired, to when it is running, and everything in between, right? And to tie every technology which is used by an automotive OEM to make sure that everyone sees the same data, everyone sees the same truth, and different engineers and people who are working in the organization see the same thing. So PLM is extremely necessary for a company to improve their digital operations. I think Mahesh agreed that digital needs to be brought in a lot of ways. So PLM is really the backbone on which everything can be tied in.
Right. And as you increase in employee strength at Switch Mobility, how do you find the use of these technologies in driving internal efficiencies and breaking down silos? And as Rajkiran says, to see one truth.
See, as you see what's happening in geopolitics, supply chain management is becoming very complex. Product development, that PLM lifecycle management, because new regulations are coming, new customer requirements are coming, new applications are coming. We need to capture all of these requirements, and then we need to funnel it to the product, to also to the people, and also to the process. So all three have to be aligned in such a way that we are the best efficient team to deliver the product which is the most desired by the customer. So there are many digital initiatives. In fact, we have prepared a digital end state to be done in 3 years' time, and we have written off multiple action points. One of them is, for example, we have a Switch Ion app which have been developed where we capture the all the assets in the market and do prognostic diagnostic with them, and then application wise what it is and how it is being tracked, and that knowledge is getting into the product development cycle, and so on and so forth. So there is a digitization is like your excellence journey. We need to keep moving,
Yeah.
and because the target keep moving and the world start moving towards efficient place. So we have a very robust plan on digitization and efficiency within the system, and we are working and moving towards it.
Yes, I imagine it offers you better visibility as well. And as CEO, I'm sure you agree that integration of technology into any part is advantageous, but simultaneously also makes it more vulnerable. So, how do you weigh between innovation when it comes to vehicular mobility and also making sure that it's compliant with evolving regulations?
Yeah. So look at cyber security. One of the things which we are talking about is vehicle, whether they are safe enough
Hmm.
when you do ADAS, when you do multiple
Right.
actions to it. So there are methods to do it, and there are safety standards available in regulation which we need to follow. So you have to do innovation within the safety and the customer boundary. Innovation is not something invention which cannot be applied to business. So that's why innovation is very important, that we have to innovate within the regulatory boundary. We can push it and work with the stakeholders to kind of expand it, but we can't definitely cross it. So we have to be making sure that customers get the best sorry, at the same time it is safe and durable and longer life for their life cycle which we are committing to our customers. So we are very clear that we will push all innovation, we will push the bubble out with all stakeholders involved, but we will never break it.
All right, that's very interesting the way you put it. And that's exactly what you do. You offer a safe and secure platform that companies can build upon. So I'm sure you would agree that it's most important to stay agile when there are these evolving regulatory norms that come about at a really fast pace almost every day.
That's right. I mean, safety and security actually builds trust with the customer for any product, right? And for a mobile product like a vehicle, like an automobile on the road, it's even more necessary, right? So we as software providers make sure that we help companies to build that safety and security regulations into what they are doing. So we make it easy from a technology standpoint to actually adhere to the functional safety norms or cybersecurity norms, etc. We've got very good interfaces to do that. That's one of the top things we've been doing.
Excellent. And also building robust internal service systems also make sure that the garage repair optimization is ensured. Do you feel increasingly that digitization is taking off the load from service technicians?
Yeah, see, I would not say it will take out the load, but it is redefining the serviceability portion of it. Earlier, you need to have tools and other things to go and find out what is the mistake, or the vehicle is off road. Today, you can sit down at the command center and see what has happened already, and you can go prepared to attend to it. You can also analyze and see how you can prevent it in the future. So you will have a holistic view of what's happened, with clear understanding of what led to it, and then that's the difference you will see it. So today, if you see a service engineer is more of a command center and diagnostic engineer than actually going and discovering to the asset or the vehicle and then telling back the system what has happened to the vehicle. But here now is sitting at the command center, you can know what has failed or what has gone wrong, and you will be able to go with a solution to that and also prevent it for the future.
Well, absolutely. And that's most important, prevent it for the future, and this sort of remote repair access that's possible right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's very necessary to build confidence with the customer, because aftermarket is as important as pre-sale of the product itself. So technologies, I mean, PTC with some of the acquisitions we made recently is optimizing the way we support field service, for example, or spare parts management, for example, or illustrations that technicians can use and follow a system by which they can do the servicing and repair better, etc. So all of that is a key focus. We understand the automobile industry needs that a lot more. So very well aligned to the market.
Excellent. And that brings our conversation to an end right now. Thank you so much for joining us here at the studios today. It was very informative talking to the two of you. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much,
And
Shilpa. Thank you.
thank you. Thanks a
Thank you.
lot.
Pleasure.
And you heard from the two visionary leaders about how, along with technology, we're driving towards a sustainable future, not just for the automotive industry, but also for the consumers and the world in general. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And also remember to catch our other discussions from the ET Auto Tech Summit 2025. Thank you.